Namaskar everybody and welcome to the Geeta Satsang for today. So let us start with the Prarthana. By the Guru's grace and the will of Sri Krishna, we have all assembled for this Geeta Satsang. May we have their guidance to be able to learn and adopt the things which will help us to grow spiritually. Let us chant the Shlokas. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramartanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranatah Kleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namostu Te Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullara Vindaya Tapatra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Ramanujataya Patram Jnana Vairagyabhushanam Srimadvenkatanathaaryam Vande Vedanta Deshikam Yo Nityamachyutapadambuja Yugma Rugma Vyamohatastaditarani Trinayamene Asmadguror Bhagavatosya Dayaika Sindho Ramanujasya Charanau Sharanam Prapadye. So with prayers at the lotus feet of the Acharyas, let us get started with our satsang for today. A very happy Varamahalakshmi Vrata to all of us. Let Lakshmi Devi bless us all with all the gunas that are required and let her take mercy, let her have mercy on us so that we are able to reach the Lord's feet by doing our sadhana. So now we'll continue with the 53rd shloka of the second chapter. So far, Lord Krishna has explained, until this point, he has explained about how Karma Yoga is to be performed. Now he goes further and the Acharyas say that he is now going to explain how somebody who has attained some degree of perfection in Karma Yoga is going to next move on to getting real jnana, or who now this person who has completed Karma Yoga is going to be able to be eligible to pursue Jnana Yoga. So in the 53rd shloka, Krishna is saying, Shruti Vipratipannate Yada Syasyati Nishchala Samadhavachala Buddhi Tada Yogam Avapsyasi. So he's telling Arjuna, when your intellect, when your buddhi ceases to be allured, it stops being attracted by the parts of the Vedas which are talking about the fruits of particular actions, and your intellect remains steady, it remains situated in divine consciousness, in the Lord, then you will attain the state of perfect yoga. So we know that yoga is the meaning of the word yoga is to unite. So when is it that this Jivatma is going to be united with the Lord and be at his lotus feet? It is only going to happen when our buddhi stops getting attracted by whatever fruits are promised by the Vedas, and it pursues sadhana. It remains steady in contemplation of the Lord for the sake of attaining moksha. Then we will attain the state of perfect yoga. So here in this shloka, Lord Krishna is explaining what is the pathway, what are the steps that take us to Atmasaakshaatkaaram. So first, initially, we need to learn about the nature of the Atma. So somebody who is on the journey for Atmasaakshaatkaaram, for self-realization, what is it that he has to do on this path? So initially, he has to learn about what is the Atma Swarupa, what is the Jivatma, what is the Paramatma, what is the Swarupa of the Atma. And then once he is convinced that so great is the nature of the Atma, how glorious is this Atma, then he will have the interest and the motivation to learn more and more about the Atma. Now, at that stage, when he starts doing this, he realizes that the Atma and the body are different. So once he has realized this, then he starts practicing Karma Yoga. So he does all these actions. He does not run away from any of his actions. And he does the actions with the attitude that I am doing it to please the Lord. I am doing it as Bhagavad Aradhana. I am doing it with the superior goal of attaining moksha. I am doing it not for any inferior goals of joy in this world or to enjoy anything in Swarga. So when somebody starts performing actions like this, without the thought that I am the doer, by offering all the fruits to the Lord Himself and realizing that one is an instrument in the Lords of the hand, then that person has begun to practice Karma Yoga. As we keep on practicing Karma Yoga increasingly more and more effectively, then what happens is all the confusions which are in our mind, all the distractions that confuse us, all the unwanted, unnecessary thoughts, all these go away. The practice of Karma Yoga will take away all these confusions and distractions. And then our mind becomes clear. Now, with this kind of a clear mind, with this kind of a mind which has the Viveka Shakti, the mind which is able to discriminate between what is the path I have to take and what is it that I have to shun, with this kind of a clarity, we become an adhikari to begin the practice of Jnana Yoga. And then once we do that, we constantly contemplate and do dhyana on the Paramatma, and that leads to Atmasaakshaatkaaram. Now we may think that in the step 1 also we said we know the nature, we study about the nature of the Atma. And in the 5th stage, which is the last stage, also we are telling that we are getting Atmasaakshaatkara, so we are realizing what is the Atma. Then is it that the first step, learning about Atma Swarupa, and the last stage of Atmasaakshaatkara, are they the same? They are not same. It may sound like it is about the same thing. It is about the Atma that we are realizing something. But in the first stage, when we are still steeped in this samsara, when we are still not having any firm hold on the path of sadhana, at that time, we only know with the intellect. We only know with our buddhi. And whatever buddhi we have also is very less only. We try to understand with our intellect that, okay, I means the Atma, I does not mean the body. And we try to adopt that in our life. But in the last stage, when we say Atmasaakshaatkara, this is a stage where there is complete understanding, where our understanding has become so refined that we realize 3 important aspects. Firstly, we realize that all Atmas are equal. And we realize that there is no difference absolutely between Atmas. And with this kind of a realization, we are able to look on everybody and everything with the quality of samatva, with equanimity. We do not get disturbed by anything that happens in our life because we are able to see all Atmas as one. And we also get the realization, we are able to see that the Paramatma is indeed present inside all the Atmas. So this last stage of Atmasaakshaatkara is a very superior stage which comes after passing through learning about the Atma in the initial level, practicing Karma Yoga, and then engaging in constant contemplation and practicing Jnana Yoga. So at the end of all this, we will come to this evolved state of Atmasaakshaatkara. So, how is it that one goes through Karma Yoga and then gets a clear mind? This is because it's just like the Acharya has explained that if there is a mirror and you are looking in that mirror, then if that mirror is dirty, you will not be able to see the image clearly. You will not be able to see yourself properly in that mirror. If you want to be able to see that image clearly, that mirror should be cleaned first. Similarly, we want to see the Lord. We want to see the nature of our Atma. So if we want to have Atma Sakshatkara, if we want to realize this ultimate truth that all Atmas are equal and Paramatma is there in all the Atmas, if we want to be able to see that, then we have to clear away the dirt of Papa Punya, which is formed a layer on our ability to see. So, if we clear that dirt away, if our buddhi is cleansed, if all our Papa Punyas, which are like an avarana around our Atma, if they are all cleansed, then we become clear. Like the mirror is clean, by removing the Papa Punya, we become clean. And then the Atma is able to realize the true nature of itself. Then the Atma is able to see the image of the Paramatma within itself. And this appears like a very difficult process. It is a very challenging and daunting process. Why? Because we are not used to getting into this state of clearing away the dirt. We are constantly lost in our enjoyment of the sense impulses. And we have not learned how to ignore those, how to neglect those, and how to have a clear mind and focus on the Atma. So it appears like a very difficult task. But if we said already that what is this Papa Punya which is blocking us? They are a result of all whatever we have done in the past janmas and what we are continuing to do now. We have no control absolutely over what has happened so far. But at least now, if we try and we pay attention to practicing Karma Yoga in an effective way, if we practice the act of doing all actions without expecting the result, if we try to practice all actions and do it as an offering to the Lord, then slowly, little by little, by that practice of Karma Yoga, our Papa Punya will all be cleansed. And then our ability to neglect the senses will increase. And then with this kind of a clarity and a clean mind and a clean intellect, that process of Shuddhikarana will take our Atma ahead so that we are able to then contemplate on the Lord. Right now, what is happening to us? If we are trying to sit in contemplation of the Lord, if we are trying to sit in meditation, if we are trying to focus on our namasmarana and chanting of the Lord's name, we find that it is very difficult to concentrate. It is very difficult to practice that with concentration. And why is this happening? Because we are having so many thoughts which come into our mind. We have so many distractions which are coming to our mind. In fact, it seems like many times that other times we may not be having so many thoughts. When we sit to chant, only all the other unwanted thoughts are coming. But that is only because we have not taught our mind to practice being in a state where there is complete concentration. And if concentration was something we were all already blessed with, then there was no question of doing any sadhana, isn't it? So it is the entire concept of sadhana is that you keep putting efforts to go further and further towards that kind of a concentration. So because of the Papa Punya, because of the samskaras in our chitta, because of all these things that we have come through, we are not able to have clarity of mind. We are not able to have focus and concentration. But as we keep practicing Karma Yoga, as we keep deliberately doing actions in such a way as an offering to the Lord, it will cleanse, that process will cleanse all our Papa Punya. It will take away all the dirt. And once that has been done, then the clarity of mind will come. And when this clarity of mind comes, we are going to be able to see things with a new light. So we have to try and keep doing our sadhana towards that goal. Now in the next shloka, in the 54th shloka, Krishna continues further. Krishna has told now, up to 53rd shloka, Krishna has told whatever he wanted to tell about Karma Yoga, and now he is going to start explaining. Now when he says to Arjuna, isn't it? We saw in this shloka, he's telling Arjuna that when you become like this, then when you have a steady buddhi, then you will attain the state of perfect yoga. So now Arjuna is curious and he wants to know, if there is somebody who attains this state, then how is he going to be? So what is his quality going to be like? So Arjuna wants to know so that he can have a ideal to which we can work. And also he wants to understand how to reach that stage of being in grounded in that, complete clarity and understanding of actual Atmasaakshaatkaaram. So Arjuna is now questioning, in the 54th shloka, Arjuna is questioning Krishna. He says, Arjuna uvacha sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadhi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. So he's saying, oh Keshava, what is the disposition? What is the nature of a person who is situated in divine consciousness, who is grounded in this knowledge of Atma, of the Paramatma? How does so this person is a jnani, he is an enlightened person. How does such an enlightened person talk? What is the way in which he speaks? How does he sit? How does he walk? Isn't it? So now Arjuna wants to know all these things because he's very curious. Always, if we are told that in this particular field, XYZ is a great personality, he's somebody who has achieved a lot, who is somebody who is the most successful person in that field, then we are all very curious to know, okay, is it, how is he, how is his nature, how did he get there, how does he behave, how does he act? Like that, Arjuna has been told now about a jnani, how a jnani, who gets to be a jnani. So now he is very curious and he wants to know what is the nature of such a jnani. So in this shloka, it is about his curiosity and he wants to know all these things. So this word called sthita prajna is the key word in this shloka. So prajna refers to knowledge and sthita means to be grounded in, to be established in, to be situated in that particular situation. So sthita prajna is somebody who is sthita in prajna, somebody who is grounded or firmly established, somebody who is rooted in Atmajnana, in Paramatmajnana. So this Arjuna wants to know what are the characteristics of such a person. Now, the answer to this, the Lord will give in the next 4 shloka. So right now we are in the 54th shloka. From 55 to 58, in all these 4 shlokas, the Lord will explain what are the characteristics of such a sthita prajna. Now, this explanation will be done by explaining what are called as the 4 samnyas. So these 4 samnyas are nothing but the 4 stages of vairagya. And vairagya means detachment. So by going through these 4 samnyas or 4 stages of vairagya, a person is said to attain the state of jnana. Now, I was trying to find out because I couldn't make out from the commentary of the acharyas very clearly where these samnyas are explained. But from what I could read up in some other related sources, it looks like these samnyas are explained in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. So what are these 4 stages of Vairagya? They are Yatamana Samnya, Vyatireka Samnya, Ekendriya Samnya, and Vashikara Samnya. So each of these is one particular stage, one particular state of the Vairagya. So what is it that everybody lives, or what is the thing which is attained in each of these states? That is what is going to be explained by the Lord. And how it is to be practiced, that also is going to be explained by the Lord. Now, when we take up in the next satsang, we will take shloka number 58, because if you look at these, what we have arranged here, Yatamana Samnya is the initial stage, Vyatireka Samnya is the next stage, the third stage is Ekendriya Samnya, and last stage is Vashikara Samnya. But when the Lord has explained in the Geeta, the last stage is explained in the 55th shloka. That below that stage is explained in the 56th shloka. So if we go in that order, we will be going from the more difficult to the less difficult, which is going to be difficult, very difficult for us to understand. So what the acharyas have done is they have explained starting from the simple, relatively easier stage, from the initial stage to the most advanced stage. So when we take up these shlokas from next satsang onwards, we will not take up 55, 56, 57, 58, but we will go in the reverse order. We will take shloka 58 first, then we will move on to 57, then we will move on to 56, then we will go to 55. And once we finish 55, Then we are going to go to 59 because that is the next one after 58. So this is how the stages will be explained. That we will take in the next satsang. Here one example has been given by the acharyas to explain these samnyas, that what is the process, what exactly is there in each stage, we will take up from next time. But for today, let us just try to understand the whole process through the example of a vessel in which oil has been kept for very long. So if you have a vessel in which oil is there, and that oil, you want to now clean that vessel, you want to remove that oil and you want to clean that vessel. Now that oil in that vessel will have made that vessel very sticky. So if you want to clean that vessel, the first thing you need to do is you need to pour out whatever oil is there in that vessel. So pouring out the oil means you are trying to get rid of the cause of that dirtiness or greasiness. So that is equivalent to blocking the sense organs from coming into contact with the sense objects. Now, what is my purpose? I want to cleanse my mind. I want to make sure that I'm only thinking about the Lord and I'm contemplating on the Lord. And what is the thing which is distracting me, or what is the problem that is putting obstacles there? It is these sense organs. So, in the initial stage, my attempt should be to block my sense organs. And how I will block? I will remove the object itself, because it's very difficult for me if the object is there, then for me to block. So I should come to some kind of action where I'm going to take myself away from those sense objects. I will withdraw my senses. I will block the sense organs so that they don't come into contact with the sense objects. So that is equivalent to pouring the oil out of the vessel. Now, in the next stage, I have to examine the vessel and see what all I have poured out and what all is still remaining in that vessel. So that is the next stage where we will discriminate and try to analyze for ourselves. What all have I managed to overcome? What impulses are still within me? What impulses I have managed to let go of? Like suppose, let us say I am, what you say, always I have been listening to movie songs and I want to get rid of that. Now I want to uh, block my ears from listening to these movie songs. Fine. So I will take efforts for that. I will make sure that I'm not listening to anything on the TV. I will make sure that on YouTube, I'm not going to these movie songs. I'm not playing anything on the radio. I will cut off contact with all those things. Now, in the next stage of examining the vessel, I'm going to check and see, okay, fine. Have I managed to completely disconnect from those movie songs? Yeah, I'm not hearing. But then maybe sometimes when unknown to me, when I'm in a good mood and I want to sing something or hum the song, then that movie song is coming in my mouth. I'm singing that. So maybe I have got rid of one part of the samskara, that I'm not listening to those songs now, but the samskara is still there. That impression which is there, and it's prompting me unconsciously, without my knowledge, I sing sometimes that song, right? So that is the second stage where we try to analyze and see and discriminate what I have got rid of, what is still there. Then in the third stage, I may get rid of even that action, what is coming unconsciously. But somewhere that vasana, that desire is still there. It is like saying, I poured out all the oil completely. I tried to rub with my hands little and I removed. But then there is still stickiness in that vessel. I may have done a superficial cleaning, but the vessel is still having that greasiness. Why that stickiness was there in the vessel in spite of trying to clean it? Because that is something which is left over from the past, right? So it's not very obvious, but when I really rub my hand, I'm able to feel that slight greasiness. So like that, we may externally get rid of our samskaras, but still those very deep in our subconscious, those impulses or the impact of those impressions of those samskaras, they remain somewhere in small tiny quantity also, they may be there. So that is the next stage. And in the final stage, what I do, I realize, okay, this grease has not gone away. So I need to actively rub it with some agent. And when I rub it with that some agent, then at that time, there is going to be complete loss even of that greasiness. Just 1 minute, please. There's somebody knocking the door. I will just check and come. So as I was saying, the last stage is when you've scrubbed that vessel, you put shikakai, some soap or whatever, and even that last bit has gone away. So there is nothing left now. So this is the stage where a person has attained the stage of a jnani. There is complete loss of even that lingering desire. If you are in a situation where those impulses are there also, you have absolutely no, your mind does not go towards them. You are unaffected by whether that is there or not there. You have no sense, you don't even notice those things like that. So that is a complete last stage where attainment of jnana has taken place, right? So these are the stages. So if these are the stages, then as I said, the shlokas are arranged in the reverse order. So if we go to the last shloka, if we take the first shloka first, then we will come to the last stage where we are talking about complete jnana. So it's not going to make sense to us that way. That is why the acharyas have also explained it in this way, that we will take shloka number 58 first and move backwards from there. So we will take up that part in the next satsangs. Maybe one or two satsangs will go in understanding about that. So we will take that up that time. Just it struck me to explain about this concept, that how this last stage where there is absolutely no awareness of all this, and constantly the mind is only in the state of contemplating on the Lord. There is a very well-known story which is told about Vedavyasa and his son Shuka. So we know that Shuka Muni was the one who explained everything. The Bhagavatam, the Srimad Bhagavatam was explained by him to Parikshit Maharaj. So Vedavyasa is the one who composed the Bhagavatam. And Vedavyasa is an Amshavatara of the Lord himself, right? And Vedavyasa is such a great Muni with so much jnana, right? Let us think about this story which is told. Now, once what happened is, Vedavyasa is an old person. Okay, he was walking through the forest and he was passing by, and there was a lake there, and there were some apsaras who were having bath in that water of the lake. So, what happened is, Vedavyasa passed, and the minute Vedavyasa passed and came close by, those ladies became very conscious that they are naked and bathing in the water, and immediately they took up their clothes and they tried to cover themselves. So Vedavyasa passed by, and then he went a little further and stopped there. A little after that, his son, Shukamuni, who is said to be eternally 16 years old, young man, he came and passed by that way. And when Shuka passed that way, all those ladies were not bothered that they are not wearing clothes. They didn't even do anything to cover themselves up. Now, seeing this, Vedavyasa was very perplexed, and he came back to those apsaras and he asked them that, I'm really very curious about this event, what happened now. When I passed by, you people covered yourself up to hide your nakedness. When my son, who is such a young boy, I am such an old person, and when I came, you covered yourself. When my son, who is such a young boy, when he passed by, you didn't even bother to do anything. You didn't even turn and look at him. The Apsaras told him, he said, see, even this question, no, it has only struck you. Your son didn't notice anything, and he didn't even ask this question. You are the one who is asking. Why? Because in you, there is still that one barrier between complete jnana and your understanding. You have not reached that stage where you're completely identifying with Paramatma at all points of time. Whereas for your son, everything is the same. To him, it makes no difference. The pond is the same, the trees are the same, the birds are the same, the forest is the same, the apsaras with clothes are the same, the apsaras without clothes are the same. So when he is situated in that stage of being a complete jnani, all the time he is only seeing the Paramatma in everything around him. And that is why he did not notice. And that same thing we reflected. When somebody is jnani like that, then we also don't have any kind of an awareness of ourselves in their presence. So it just goes to show, not to say that Vedavyasa was less jnani than we can't say such things, of course, because he is an Amshavatar of the Lord himself. But this example is told to tell us how it is not about age. It is not about how old or how young you are. It is about the stage of jnana in which the person is situated. So although Shuka was young in age, but he was always situated in Atmajnana. He was always situated in contemplating on the Lord. And that is this ultimate stage where there is complete loss of no loss of all desire. There is absolutely nothing in the subconscious, in the buddhi, in the manas, which is going to instigate you to move towards attaining some particular pleasure in your life. So this is what we can try and understand from the coming shlokas. So we will take those up in the next class. So for today, we have stopped here where Arjuna is asking Krishna about what are the qualities of a sthita prajna, what are the qualities of an enlightened person. So let us pray. The portion which is going to come now onwards is going to be a little more taxing on our buddhi. We'll have to pay more attention. We will have to use all the powers of understanding we have to try and, actually get what Lord Krishna is telling. But I'm sure that with his blessings, we will be able to do that. I am also a little apprehensive about my own understanding, but I'm sure that Guru will bless, Acharya will bless, and take us ahead, all of us together, so that we are able to grasp at least a little bit of whatever the Lord has explained in this part of the Gita. So with that, we come to the end of our satsang for today. Let us offer gratitude and kritagnyata at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna and Guru for inspiring us to start and join this satsang. And let us pray for their blessings and grace to always be on us. Today being Sri Varamahalakshmi Vrata, let us also pray to Mahalakshmi Devi to bless all of us with whatever is good for us. Normally, people pray to Lakshmi Devi thinking that she will give us wealth. She will give us Aishwarya. When we say Aishwarya, it is not relegated to the petty monetary wealth only. It is a quality which we can say prosperity in English maybe. And when we say prosperity, we mean not financial wealth, but being in a state of abundance, having abundantly everything in our life. And right now for us, when we are studying the Gita, we want to have abundance of bhakti, we want to have abundance of jnana, and we want to have abundance of vairagya, so that we are unaffected by anything that happens in our life. And we are able to focus our attention and develop complete devotion and bhakti for the Lord. So let us pray that Krishna and the Guru will bless us to reach this level. And let us pray that Lakshmi Devi will also bless us, because it is with her blessings only that everything is given to us by the Lord. So let us ask and pray for her to recommend our case to the Lord, and let him bless us so that we can move ahead on our path of sadhana. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending the satsang. Although it is a festival day, we will meet again in the next satsang. Also, I want to thank all of you for having answered that Google questionnaire which I had sent across. I made note of whatever everybody has said, and we will continue by God's grace and with his guidance. We will continue doing well in our satsang. Thank you so much, everybody. Namaskar.